My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Another fool who hasn't a clue about irony. He spent his days in his basement posting his nonsense about a woman who doesn't know he exists. There's the laugh here. Lips needs to get out and touch some grass. Okay, what did this person say here? Okay. What a depressing life for Meghan Markle, who is posting daily on Instagram. What a depressing thing for you to keep on following her and then to talk about her. Funny too is the fact that this strange woman clearly places the camera at certain angles and take multiple shots, collates them, edit before posting. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? To edit them before she posts them. So what? Okay, everything they criticize Meghan for, they do it themselves, 100%. He never fails to amuse. I don't know who's that. This is the first time I'm seeing it. He never fails to amuse. You can always rely on lips for a laugh. Surely he has to get embarrassed at some point and just shut the F up. Okay, next tweet. And then I have one more under this group of tweets, but there's much more. Okay, maybe I'll add the other ones. Thought this looks familiar. Riana and ASAP at 2025 Cannes Film Festival. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle at the 2020 Endeavor Fund Award. Okay. But ASAP wasn't following Harry's thing. Wasn't wasn't he on trial? Let me look that up. I didn't follow it, but I think he was on trial for something. That's what I thought. I put here, was ASAP on trial? ASAP was recently on trial in Los Angeles for felony assault with a firearm. He was accused of shooting a gun at his former friend and ASAP mob member, Terrell Efron, also known as ASAP Rally, in November 2021. The incident allegedly occurred after a disagreement between the two individuals. Wacky was found not guilty. I remember seeing something on all charges after a jury trial. Okay, so that's that. There's more to it, but that's not the point. I just wanted to know if what I was saying was true, because you know I read almost little thing here and there, but I don't go too deep into them. Next one about Derangers. Duchess wedding cost British taxpayers £46 million. Okay, so all right, this is the part I wanted to focus on, but she's responding to this. Okay, let's go back. I don't want to go through all of that. And then I responded to it. Okay, let's see here. This is what the original tweet said. Who has been watching their wedding video today? That's during their anniversary. I can't stop watching it over and over again. And this person respond here. Duchess wedding cost British taxpayers £46 million, £32 million for security on the proviso that both will be working royals. They knew this was a lie. The scum talkers owe a lot to the Brits. They dishonored, deserve nothing, divorce, or there's the other word here, smeg, will accept nothing less. Oh my God, these people. Okay, I didn't see that part. Okay, so that's my comment. Well, only if you understand why the UK wanted to make this wedding happen when Harry and Meghan didn't want it. In order to make money, you have to spend millions of pounds, okay? Millions of pounds versus billions. Know the difference. Okay, they spend millions to make the wedding, but they gain much more. Royal weddings, 1.4 billion economic impact. All right, so just pause and read this. All right, there's all of that. And then they donate money. I mean, the mindset of these people. All right, so there's all of this. All right, so let's leave that alone. That's an ad. That's that. So I'm pretty much done with this list. And then there's 3 more or 4 more regarding Daddy Fell. Okay, so let's squeeze that. I could remove it and put it on App You Team Sussex. Next tweet. There's that. Mel. Prince Harry and Meghan are facing a 7-year glitch of different priorities. I mean, these people, they have no shame. Everything that they write, it has to be negative. Okay, it's funny these old people keep getting paid to opine on Meghan and Harry. Richard Fitzwilliam must be close to 80. I mean, this is what I keep on saying. Those old people, their time is about to be up. But as they're exiting this earth, they keep on living toxicity for the young ones. Just look at the world right now. It's all people who's manufacturing all these crazy things that's going on. Okay, if not more. And his views are fixed in the royal world of the 1960s. He has no standing to speak on a modern 21st century couple. It's a fake as he pre-Oprah interview. Okay, the effing green with envy. Fitzwilliam was caught out reporting on the Oprah interview before it was actually broadcast. And after that, I came across other interviews that he did. He doesn't care. There's no embarrassment in his face after that. These people have no souls. It's unbelievable. By labeling Meghan the ruthless one generally and on Oprah, I can only assume that he still hasn't watched Oprah plus the extra bits properly or heard Harry's other interviews. Okay, the male have no access to this couple and haven't for years to know anything about their lives. It's all made up BS. Even the palace know nothing about the whereabouts or what they do. It's long time the British media move on and stop pretending they have any access they don't. Okay, these voter lunatics are so used to royal couples who don't work and are tax parasites that they can't concede of Harry and Meghan doing what all normal couples do, working on different things. Maybe Harry just wants to do charity while Meghan builds an empire and they seem happy with that arrangement. Yeah, I remember talking back then where if I could see Harry's good and establishing charitable work. And if, you know, how they will work hand in hand, where one is weak on certain things and the other one who's stronger on certain things, let's say media, savvy and things like that, will be Meghan. Which, when it comes to charity, Harry's really good into charities and all of that. So, yeah, perfect match. Let's leave that alone. Next one. Okay. Let's see here. This is the best logical, mature, and honest take I have seen coming from a Brit when it comes to Prince Harry. He then left the family. He left the institution. The institution responded with spite, an institution that is used to getting their way, whatever the cost. Let's listen to this. I think I responded to that.
This stuff makes me sad, right? Strip away the sort of royal family sort of stuff. This is a family going through a bit of a crisis and they've all fallen out, and that's sad for many reasons. I think for him to take responsibility, I think he has. He saw what happened to his mother, the way she was treated by certain elements of the press, and the way that she sadly died. And I think he chose his wife over his family. And I think that rankles a lot with the family, who will feel a certain way, as lots of sort of quote-unquote normal families probably would. And I sort of fall on the side of, I think there's something deeply honourable, actually, and something really lovely about being so deeply in love with somebody, and people have their own opinions of her. I mean, I don't know her, and I just think, you know, leave her to it, whatever. And they see it as she split up the family. He's made his choice and he's taken responsibility and gone, no, I'm putting my wife first. I do not want her to end up in the same way my mother did. And therefore he's made whether the family have acted in spite, families do that, we don't know. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Were the family worried about the broader picture of the royal family looking split? And you know, you want to, when you're the head of state, you want to look like you're united and stuff. So maybe you've acted in a way to protect the broader family. I don't know.
I will give him a pass. But the way these people are speaking as if the royal family has nothing to do with what's going on. All of the issues that's going on between Harry and Meghan with the royal family are manufactured by the royal family. The guy is speaking as if the institution had nothing to do with that. It's not like this is a secret before the open interview or anything like that. Harry has gone to court. So many things has been made public, and they're talking as if they're not giving any fault to the institution.
Criticisms that you've received is that, well, okay, fine, you want to move to California, you want to step back from the institutional role, why be so public? You say you tried to do this privately.
And every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife. You know, the family motto is never complain, never explain, but it's just a motto, and it doesn't really hold.
There's a lot of complaining and a lot of explaining.
Endless.
Private being done through leaks.
Through leaks. They will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, and that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story, and in the bottom of it, they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years, we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayed.
Piers, if you want to be private, go back to America and live privately. It's pretty straightforward.
You heard from anyone in the palace thanking you for the, serious defense of them?
I've had some messages communicated to me on behalf of several members of the royal family.
Upper level
We're very
people?
grateful that. Well, I'm not going to go into who it was, but what I would say is gratitude that somebody was standing up for them.
That she started a campaign in the British press to pave the way for a marriage, and you wrote, I even wanted Camilla to be happy. Maybe she'd be less dangerous if she was happy.
Mm-hmm.
How was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
That made her dangerous.
That made her dangerous because of the connections that she was forging within the British press. And there was open willingness on both sides to trade of information. And with a family built on hierarchy, and with her on the way to being Queen Consort, there was going to be people or bodies left in the street because of that.
The guy is speaking as if the institution had nothing to do with that. It's not like this is a secret before the open interview or anything like that. Harry has gone to court. So many things has been made public, and they're talking as if they're not giving any fault to the institution.
The Sun hired an American private investigator to obtain personal and private data on Meghan Markle and her father, Thomas Markle. The PI then sold illegally obtained data to the Sun, though the paper denies knowing that it was gotten illegally.
How was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
That made her dangerous.
That made her dangerous because of the connections that she was forging within the British press.
The Sun immediately tasked notorious Los Angeles-based PI Dan Dano Hanks to mine Meghan's data after news broke in October 2016 that she was seeing Prince Harry. Hanks obtained her social security number by deception, a criminal offence in the US as it is in the UK. Hanks also stole the data of Meghan's half-brother, her mother Doria Ragland, her ex-husband and 2 rumoured former boyfriends. The same day, a secret dossier with this ill-gotten information and Meghan's mobile phone numbers and addresses was emailed by Hanks to his handler James Beale, the US editor of The Sun. Byline investigators seen an invoice for $2,000 for the work sent by Hanks to The Sun's London HQ and a remittance advice note proving that he was paid at least $750 for the information on 11 members of Meghan's family and friends. In his exclusive interview, Hanks described Meghan's social security number as a key identifier beyond the reach of legal searches, which would enable other PIs to dig deeper into confidential records, opening up all the other private data held on US government and state databases.
How was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
That made her dangerous.
That made her dangerous because of the connections that she was forging within the British press.
The Vietnam veteran drove to the LA houses of Meghan and her father to photograph the properties so that The Sun could commission specialist reporters and photographers to mount a stakeout of each. The very next day, James Beale, along with the paper's then royal correspondent Emily Andrews, wrote the first story about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry ever to appear in The Sun. The story contained the first fruits of Hanks' dossier, as The Sun had obtained a quote from Meghan's niece, Ashley Friedman, whose contact details were among the data that Hanks had sold. The Sun has never admitted ever having illegally obtained such information from any private investigator and denies doing so in 2016 to Meghan and Harry.
Why were you so interested in Prince Harry?
Well, it's not a case of me being interested. It was a case of the editors made it very clear that you put Prince William on the front of a newspaper. He doesn't sell as many copies as Prince Harry. So Harry had become, as explained to me by a couple of editors, Harry had basically become the new Diana. They were much more interested in Harry than William. He didn't really get up to much, he didn't do much, he wasn't much of a subject for a tabloid newspaper. He was just, there was nothing there until he met Kate.
In 2004, Prince Harry started dating a young woman called Chelsy Davy.
Yes, right.
Did that open up a lucrative new avenue for you?
So. There was a lot of voicemail hacking going on. There was a lot of surveillance went on Chelsy Davy, on her phones, on the comms. Chelsy would brag to her friends when she was going to see him.
And so her life became an object of obsession for you guys as well?
Yeah. Medical records, had she had an abortion, sexual diseases, ex-boyfriends, vet them, check them, education.
But if Chelsy Davy were here right now, what would you care to say to her?
Oh, I'm very sorry. I am very sorry, because my actions were ruthless, but they were, and I'm not making an excuse, but they were ruthless because I was greedy and because I was into my cocaine, and I was living in a fake state of grandeur.
What sort of culture in a media allows...
Ruthless. They absolutely have got no morals.
Then when you look back on what you did,
yeah,
specifically on the princes, how does it make you feel?
Bad. Because I basically was part of a group of people that robbed him of his normal teenage years.
Dano with me again to talk about the work he did finding information, some of it illegal, for the British tabloid. First of all, tell me about databases.
Back in the 80s, early 80s, there were several companies. One of them was called Nexus Lexus. The other one was Choice Point. But the most efficient one is one called TLO. As they developed, they would gather more and more information, private information on people, and there were no rules. There were no laws saying who you could give that to. Then suddenly the federal government started realizing, well, you guys are selling private information. And they passed a law called the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act. But they left an opening, and the opening was private investigators. The news media could get limited access. Well, as a private investigator, I could get complete access, but then sell it to the news media illegally.
Right.
I had no idea that they were going to use the data illegally to pose as you, to pretend to be you,
because I noticed, for
steal your
example,
identity.
at one point, somebody wanted my social security number, and I thought, well, what are they going to do with it? But they do what in England we call blagging. They then ring up pretending
to be you,
to be me, and asking a banker or some medical person for confidential information, which they then give because they think they're giving it to me.
In the United States, we have a law that protects all medical information. It's like a felony to, obtain it illegally.
Yeah, we have one too. I'm particularly interested in the UK. I mean, the papers would ring you up and say, get me something on X.
Well, basically, they didn't want me to get specific information. They wanted me to give them the identifiers that allowed their people to get do that blagging.
So the blagging was a separate operation that was started off by the information you were able to give.
Right. I would give them the information of what we would refer to as the keys to the kingdom.
The family motto is never complain, never explain, but it's just a motto, and it doesn't really hold.
There's a lot of complaining and a lot of explaining.
Endless.
Private being done through leaks.
Through leaks. They will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, And that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story. And then the bottom of it, they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years, we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayed.
Okay, that was nicely put. It was, guess not all Brits are brainwashed. So that's my comment here. 3 people like it. He sounds reasonable, but I still can't understand why some people believe that Harry, not only a grown man that has to create his own family, and to the royal family, is the one who started all of the BS we're seeing. Worst of it all, they continue to bother Harry's little family. What did the royal family and Brits expected from a spare? Okay, I was running over things here. The men in grey suit have control the royal family since Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne at 25. Okay, so these are some of the things that I've been, maybe they're watching some of the things that I've, some of my podcasts, because I have said since the Queen father died, they took over. So many things I've said about that. Okay, uneducated, untrained. I will not say untrained. They send her overseas. That's the thing. They keep her out of the country while they're brainwashing the toddler, what's his name, Charles, to be what he is now. Okay, and inexperienced, the men in grey suit co-opted her power and used Prince Philip to introduce the media as a tool. Harry told us his family is trapped. Okay, did Prince Philip plan Queen Elizabeth coronation? Okay, so that's, you could pause and read it. This might be part of it, but I think it's much more. Okay, sending her overseas little at a time. She trusted them. That's the thing. She trusted them. Whatever it is that they tell her, this is the way things should be, this and that. Look at this. When Harry was getting married, okay, wanted to get married, what did they tell Harry? They told Harry he needs to ask the Queen permission. Okay, I would assume maybe the heir will need to ask permission, not the spare. But what Harry did, knowing if there's people around the Queen, they will influence her to say no, to go against him. So what he did, he isolated the Queen, wait until people is out of the way to ask the Queen directly without any interference. So all of that, I don't think Harry needed to ask. Even the Queen was saying, why are you asking me? Something like that. I don't remember where it was. So the men in grey suit actually believe did couple things, and then they probably lied to the Queen saying this is the way things should be, when in fact not. The only example I will say is Harry asking the Queen permission, and the Queen was like, why are you asking me? And things like that, and then she approved it. All right, let's move on. This comment here that on the screen, it's close to some of the things I've said in the past. Next tweet, and I have one more. Was it just me, or did anyone else notice the suppression of Harry and Meghan's 7th anniversary hashtag? Did I put it twice? There's that. Okay. 6,204 posts trending and British royal family. So other places it was. That one should trend every day non-stop. Did you ask the Grok thing who suppressed it? No, but it will do it for fun. Okay, but will okay, I will do it for fun, I guess. Yes, I also received a message that I had exceeded my response for the day. Oh, I never asked them that Grok question, but I guess they give you limited of time. Question you could ask. Massive suppression took place. I noticed it immediately when I posted yesterday. It was different than the previous year. It was definitely suppressed. I spoke about it earlier in the maybe last tweet. Next one, and this is the last one. I might put this on APTS Sussex. There was a let's pause. There was a coven on witches literally bitching about HRH Duchess Meghan, Sussex beautiful wedding anniversary mood board, which the callers called them out on, thumbs up, but I always feel a bit of disbelief at the blatant lies from at Anni Derangers, who tries to demonize Meghan for branding even when it's not, when Anni herself works for an institution who she has admitted she is required to give PR to withspend to make turn look good. Then see her rolling her eyes at that as if that's Machiavellian. But when it's Meghan, the goal is to dehumanize her as if she's some evil creature from a Black Sea, so that even sharing a cute board of family pictures is a sinister move. Let's count some of the lies. 1. The relationship between Prince Harry, Meghan, and the press was no pretty mood when they married. They literally call her a gangster royal and porn star, Harry wrote a letter. 2. He was prepared to give the public for the country, he just did not want moral bankrupt royal voter making money off of his wedding. 3. Harry said they left the working royal because of press abuse and lack of family support, not because they wanted to be private. 4. Meghan always shared her life pre-royals. That's the thing on IG. So let's listen to this. 2 minutes and 11. Oh, I didn't know it was that much, but let's listen. We go over it. Over them.
2222. Maybe you had a look at this collage and thought, hang on a minute, what is going on here? Let's kick off with Emily, who was at the wedding, and you told me before the show they were incredibly strict about photographers at the wedding.
They were. So they got married 7 years ago on the 19th of May at Windsor Castle. And because the Windsor Castle is protected by, fortified walls. Oh, here we are.
This is you at the wedding. Looking delightful, may I say?
Outside, thank you so much. Royal blue, Vanessa. Outside St George's Chapel. You can see the flowers were stunning. Lots of peonies, Meghan's favourite flower. And they effectively banned any journalists from inside St George's Chapel. None of us were allowed to be inside.
I was there that day too.
What, were you inside?
Up on the parapet, no.
You were broadcasting?
Yes.
So the broadcaster... I'd love to have heard that.
Cathy's take on it all. No, I'm on the parapet.
Yeah, you didn't need a microphone. But the press... So the broadcasters were on the parapet of Windsor Castle, and the rota, of which I was part, the Royal Rota, was in a small anteroom just off the chapel, watching it on TV. We were outside the steps as she arrived. But Harry and Meghan said no journalists inside our wedding. Fair enough. The relationship at that point was still pretty good. We were all still calling them amazing and. The relationship at that point was still pretty good. We were all still calling them amazing. And
did I hear her correctly? She said they were still calling her amazing. What does that mean? They were still calling her amazing. So someone made them switch the switch to go barbaric on her. So this part says something. It means something. They were still calling her amazing. So what changed? Meghan hasn't changed. Okay, so let's continue.
I remember writing, after they went to Australia 6 months later, the Duchess of Success. What a breath of fresh air. Yeah. So I kind of feel that when I see this mood board of or collage, as you say, intimate moments, and then we wind forward from that very happy day 7 years ago in Windsor. We've had Megxit, we've had Harry and Meghan leave the royal family because, as they said, they wanted more privacy. They didn't want to have to.
Harry, well, I just put that clip on the Oprah interview thing. They never say anything about privacy, okay? It's something here, right here.
Share parts of our lives that you're comfortable with. There's no one who's on Instagram or social media that would say, because I shared this one picture, that entitles you to have my entire camera roll. Go ahead, look through it. No one would want that. So it's about boundaries and it's about respect. They've created a false narrative. I've never talked about privacy.
There it is.
I think that's
okay. So there's that. Okay, so there's that. All right, let's finish listening to it.
To deal with the press, and then we see they didn't want their children to be shared. I totally agree with all of that, but then we see these very intimate family moments that she is putting out, and I feel, as I think I probably have always said, it was never.
What the hell? What just happened? Okay, I don't want to start all over. It was never.
So, we've had Megxit, we've had Harry and Meghan leave the royal family because, as they said, they wanted more privacy, they didn't want to have to deal with the press, and then we see they didn't want their children to be shared. I totally agree with all of that, but then we see these very intimate family moments that she is putting out, and I feel, as I think I probably have always said, it was never that Meghan wanted privacy, she just wanted it on her terms.
Right, let's bring Kathy into this. So the picture that
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong about her wanting to be on her own term. Right? This caller says she's happy for Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan, and says that the convent of witches on the panel, being catty and bitchy, is how they were talking about Meghan's wedding anniversary board. She flagged that they don't talk about lazy Kate. She called Emily out. Okay? Out for doing this on the other shows too, but apparently at Emily Andrews, who is part of the press, who report on Meghan's daily, is bothered that Meghan, having left institutional program, feels free to share bits of her life that are cute now. She's no longer under instruction by the palace, who burst blood vessels over a baby shower with her friends. Alright, 1:46 seconds.
How do I feel about it? Vanessa?
Yes.
I feel really happy with Harry and Meghan. She is a woman. It was her anniversary, Vanessa.
Yes.
Right? There's no need for all this cattiness and bitchiness. It's ridiculous. And the other lady, the blonde,
Emily, yes, she's
a
royal expert,
so
yes.
boring.
Oh, you think she's boring? Oh my gosh, I don't think she's boring. I think she's really something. She's very touching.
So I've seen her on all the other gutter rubbish what she's on.
Oh gosh. Gosh, that's very... Who's being catty now? I was going to say the same thing. I mean, you hear what Kathy says, that Kathy let the novelist, who's being catty, Merva? It might be you, perhaps, is it?
I don't think it's me, Vanessa. These ladies are catty.
Oh dear.
Merva. It's their anniversary. Let them enjoy it.
Good.
Merva, absolutely. People should always be allowed to enjoy their anniversary. But the whole thing, I've been covering the royals now for 15 years. I've met Meghan. She's lovely in person. I really liked her. They got married on my birthday. Well done them. But I think we also have to look at the reason why she's making these things public. I think it's fair comment that we should ask why and why now.
What do you think of that, Merva?
Why you never go on about the lazy one, Kate? Now stop, it's ridiculous.
Gosh, that seems very unkind as well, because we know she's been incredibly unwell, and she's been incredibly brave and
brave for what?
Honest about the whole thing.
But
thank you so much for the call. Interesting to have your point of view, obviously. Let's go to Maria.
Oh, good for the caller for calling them out. Is there more? Okay, let's pause. Okay, caller Anne is tired of Prince Harry and Meghan being criticized for everything. She flagged that the other royals have done similar things like books that the Sussexes have done and don't get criticized. Note that by Emily Andrews admit a double standard and a pretend show of fairness by her, but maintain that Meghan is bullied because she's spoken to people who were terrified of her. What? Must be true then, right? That's the rolling eye. No doubt that those people were truthful and indeed terrified of an eloquent, mixed heritage, confident woman with a work ethic they couldn't cope with. No doubt those terrified people, including William, Kate, and all the other stuffy nose family and courtiers who felt threatened by this woman with the exotic blood on their space. All right, this one is almost 2 minutes.
And the desire to do it well, but you're really enjoying it, that whole thing. Okay, let's get back to your calls on Meghan, because they are flowing in thick and fast. Do you think the Duchess is oversharing on social media, particularly as they've called, as the Sussexes, for privacy? Let's talk to Anne in Nottinghamshire about this. Anne, how are you feeling about this one? Thanks for ringing.
I think that
I'm getting tired of poor Harry and Meghan being criticised for everything. That's what I think. I think it was to celebrate their 7 years together, and they're always being criticised. I remember when Meghan was holding her bump, she was criticised for doing that, but Kate held her bump, and in fact Harry was criticised for the book, but in fact his father did Dimbleby.
Good.
The Duchess of York did everything to advertise her royalness, and in fact everything is done towards Meghan. I think it's appalling. They said that she was bullying people in the royal household, but everybody knows in the royal household that the king actually throws things at staff when he gets angry.
Prince Charles expected his butler to keep visits to Camilla a secret from the princess.
Paul just turned around to him and said, well, are you expecting me to lie for you, Your Royal Highness? And Prince Charles said, well, yes. Yes, I am. And went into this histrionics about being the King of England, the future King of England, the Prince of Wales, and you will lie, stamping his feet, and then threw this book in Paul's direction.
And Prince Charles is one of the most demanding.
Charles likes, it was a particular dish he likes to eat when he goes out hunting, which is softly boiled eggs and Scotch whisky, waiting for him when he comes back. But of course they never know when he's coming back. So a good half an hour before he's due back, they start boiling up a batch of 20 eggs for 3 minutes exactly. And then if he hasn't arrived in those 3 minutes, they throw them away. Then they start another batch. Charles and Ken Shark were away for a weekend with friends, staying at a friend's house. And Charles was trying to put his own collar studs in, which he doesn't normally do for his formal strap. And he dropped one of the studs and it sort of bounced around the sink and went down the plug hole. Charles was in a fury, just ripped the sink from the wall, threw it to the floor, shattered it into 1,000 pieces, retrieved the stud, and Ken had to put it in. And then when Ken had put it in, Charles grabbed him by the throat. Well, they said, you do understand, Ken, I just have to let this out. Well, Ken was so terrified, he sort of backed out of the room, but he didn't know the geography of the room, so he backed into a cupboard and stayed there for 10 minutes before letting himself out.
Angry on the Duke of York.
I'm checking up with Emily. Does the king throw things at staff when he gets angry? Anne, you are not wrong. And actually, I agree with you on Harry and Meghan. I think there's definitely, we've come to a position in the British press, of which I am part, I would admit, that nothing they can do is ever right. They can't say or do anything right. And you are right, the king in the past, as Prince of Wales, and indeed still as king, does have a temper, as does William, as does Harry. And things have been thrown. The bullying thing, I'm afraid, that's slightly different. I mean, I've spoken to a number of people who were terrified of Meghan. But you are absolutely right.
She better be careful with this. She better be careful with this because the bullying allegation, they never made the thing public. So she better be careful with that part. People who's terrified of her, giving them, hand warmers, doing things nice to them. Everyone that came across Meghan, they said nice thing about her. The lawsuit of her father's letter. Okay, things came out. Nobody came forward to. You know what? She just better be careful.
Royal household about someone who was, at the time at least, a very senior member of the royal family. Meghan was married to the sixth in line to the throne, and you know this is very serious indeed. But one other thing that I've learned is that whilst this bullying claim was submitted by their then chief communications officer, the head of comms at Kensington Palace, the staff involved didn't know that it had been submitted, and when they found out, they asked for it to be rescinded. So we've got quite a difficult story here about a bullying complaint.
Scobie discussed some of that reporting with Access Hollywood back in September.
The allegations of bullying that Meghan faced in the workplace, in the royal workplace at the palace, somewhat complex because we talk about allegations and accusations. We've heard the word bullying thrown around. In fact, even the palace put that on a press statement when they announced they were launching an internal investigation. What we haven't heard are any examples or anecdotes to back up these claims. And, you know, when we spoke to many of the sources that helped us throughout this book, people who are for and some who are even not particularly on the side of the Sussexes, no one was able to give any information that supported or backed up those claims of bullying. And when we dug into it even further, we found out that the individual who had made the claims of bullying in the workplace at the palace was sort of speaking on behalf of a few others in the workplace. This was a concerned boss. He was the private secretary to the couple and to William and Kate, who had written to the Human Resources Department to air his concerns over how staff were feeling. Now, what we detail in the book, and I've already gone into detail with in the past as well, was that two of these individuals, when they heard that that complaint was made, immediately went to their boss and asked for the information to be rescinded. They wanted to take back any allegations of bullying. So that leaves a few question marks over what these bullying allegations are. We've yet to hear actually what happened. No one's come forward with that information, and the palace say that the investigation continues. We may not hear anything until next year. I would imagine it's something that the couple would like to put behind them. I know that they were very supportive of an investigation going ahead because it helps them get to the bottom of the matter as well. But so far, there's very little evidence to back it up.
Let me move it back. If I could get to the part where she's saying people talk about her.
I agree with you on Harry and Meghan. I think there's definitely, we've come to a position in the British press, of which I am part, I would admit, that nothing they can do is ever right. They can't say or do anything right. And you are right, the King in the past, as Prince of Wales, and indeed still as King, does have a temper, as does William, as does Harry, and things have been thrown. The bullying thing, I'm afraid, that's slightly different. I mean, I've spoken to a number of people who were terrified of Meghan, but you are absolutely right to point out that there is a bit of a hypocrisy with Harry and Meghan can never do anything.
And somehow different rules apply. Yes. And thanks so much for the call. Excellent point. Let's go to Steph.
These people are not ashamed. Okay, they really want us to believe that a woman of color joined the widest, oldest institution in the UK and just started bullying people left and right. Okay, I know, other than the Derangers, I don't think people truly believe that nonsense. This is what I've said in the past. The result, the investigation of the bully, Harry and Meghan, should have made it public, because when they were telling her she's a bully and things like that, these people stand on the rooftop telling the entire world that she was a bully. Now, once the investigation comes, you don't hear a damn thing about it. So that part alone, if I was Meghan, I will ask the institution to make that thing public. Because that woman just said she has spoken to people who say she's a bully. Why? I know other Derangers, I don't think people truly believe that nonsense deep down, but her unique identifier as a woman of color was no doubt enough for them to feel bullied, especially after they saw the public lapping her over the English Rose Duchess. I'm sure there was a lot of invisible pearl clutching. As I'm editing this video, listening to that bullying part from that Emily Andrew thing, what I think is happening here, in my humble opinion, I think they made her to bring this bullying thing back up. They probably have something set, okay? They probably have their narrative set. If she decided to sue, they probably have their people all line up to do that accusing, to back up whatever it is that they claim about the bullying. So this is what I mean sometimes. These people always leave a gray area for them to come back to create another problem. So if I was Meghan, I truly will resolve this issue about that bullying thing, because that thing was done. It was done with. They did the investigation. They then made it public, but it was done with. But there it is, out of nowhere. She's bringing it back up again.
The bullying thing, I'm afraid, that's slightly different. I mean, I've spoken to a number of people who were terrified of Meghan.
If I was Meghan, I truly believe she should take care of this now. Put this to rest and do what she needs to do. I mean, I'm not her. I don't have the same amount of money for her to defend herself. But this thing, to tarnish her name like that, she should have do something. I don't know. I hope her lawyers are looking into that, because this is ridiculous. I love that they are very pained, the hags. They can't make as much money as they used to. May their poverty come upon them very quickly, all of them. Okay, I didn't think they realized how bitchy they come across. It's been 5 years since they left now. It's not just money for those journalists. It's personal. Meghan ran away because But the thing is that it's William. These things were in court document. They kicked them out.
Began to address Granny about the 5 options. Your Majesty, you've seen the 5 options? Yes, she said. We all had. They'd been emailed to us. 5 different ways of proceeding. Option 1 was continuance of the status quo. Meg and I don't leave. Everyone tries to go back to normal. Option 5 was full severance. No royal role, no working for Granny, and total loss of security. Option 3 was somewhere in between. A compromise, closest to what we'd originally proposed. I told everyone assembled that, above all, I was desperate to keep security. That was what worried me most, my family's physical safety. I wanted to prevent a repeat of history, another untimely death, like the one that had rocked this family to its core 23 years earlier, and from which we were still trying to recover. I'd consulted with several palace veterans, people who knew the inner workings of the monarchy and its history, and they all said option 3 was best for all parties. Meg and I living elsewhere part of the year, continuing our work, retaining security, returning to Britain for charities, ceremonies, events. Sensible solution, these palace veterans said, and eminently doable. But the family, of course, pushed me to take option 1. Barring that, they would only accept option 5. We discussed the 5 options for nearly an hour. At last, the bee got up and went round the table, handing out a draft of a statement the palace would soon be releasing, announcing implementation of option 5. Wait, I'm confused. You've already drafted a statement? Before any discussion? Announcing option 5? In other words, the fix was in this whole time? This summit was just for show? No answer.
Why this part seems to be missing in people's brain? They kicked them out. Harry and Meghan have said in the open interview they were willing to stay.
Was the move about getting away from the UK press, because the press is, is everywhere, or was the move because you weren't getting enough support from the firm?
It was both.
Both.
I needed to do this for my family. This is not a surprise to anybody. It's really sad that it's got to this point, but I've got to do something for my own mental health, for my wife's, and for Archie's as well, because I could see where this was headed.
So in conclusion, if you'd had the support, you'd still be there?
Without question.
Yeah.
I'm sad that what's happened has happened, but I know, and I'm comfortable knowing that we did everything that we could to make it work, and we did everything on the exit process the way that it should have been
with
done.
As much respect.
With as much
and,
respect.
Oh my God, we just did everything we could to protect them.
But they kicked them out.
Wait, I'm confused. You've already drafted a statement? Before any discussion? Announcing option 5? In other words, the fix was in this whole time? This summit was just for show? No answer.
I mean, they cannot force themselves to stay in a place where they don't want them. Look at this. They don't even want to give them security. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, that was long. It's personal. Meghan went away because of them when they never thought that was possible. Egg on face. They now don't want her to show she's now enjoying life away from them, doing normal things that other celebrities might do. They would prefer her to disappear in a dino way. God is good. It's not gonna happen. When God is ready, that's when she will go, but not on these devilish people's terms. Okay, in a dino way, so they could make more money and rewrite her life story even more. That I believe. They repeat this myth that they wanted privacy out of frustration that this is not happening when they simply didn't want their privacy invaded. Okay, that's why I put the open interview thing here. They know what Harry and Meghan said and meant, but they played dumb to push this propaganda so they can incite more hate by implying they're therefore hypocrites when it's the press and the royal family that are the biggest hypocrites, pretending they're silent and briefing journalists like her behind closed doors. Is the lady in blue dressed Rebecca English? I used to mix them up too until recently. There's the laugh here. Karen are in each other's likeness. I guess this is Emily and Jules. Alright, so there's that. Okay, is that the one? Okay, so that's me who put this here about the privacy. That was something I was thinking, if they wanted to stay. Okay. So I was looking for a video that I have where Oprah asks Harry and Meghan, so in conclusion, if you had the support, you will still be there. I can't find it. I can't find it. I have it, but I cannot find it on X.
So in conclusion, if you'd had the support, you'd still be there?
Without question.
Yeah.
I'm sad that what's happened has happened, but I know, and I'm comfortable knowing that we did everything that we could to make it work, and we did everything on the exit process the way that it should have been
with
done.
as much respect.
With as much
and,
respect.
Oh my God, we just did everything we could to protect them.
Okay, so that's that. Let's just what does this say here? Let's pause. Okay, I'm not gonna play all of this. Emily is a liar. Prince Harry never said they wanted privacy. This is his speech. Even her friend Rebecca posted the speech, both with Chris. Alright, so that's that. Alright, so much more. But anyway, I just wanna finish. Do I have any more on the list? This will be on Team Sussex. Oh, there's so much more. I think I'm done. I'm done. Maybe tonight I'll add more, but for now I'm done. It's already an hour. Thank you for watching. And the prayer, I will say, okay, so the prayer that I put here, prayer for knowledge and understanding. Let's look for an image. I wasn't gonna do that, but I can't come up with anything on top of my head. Let's do this one. Morning prayer. Dear Heavenly Daddy, what? I pray that you will fill me with the knowledge of your will and all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that I may walk worthy of you, fully please you, and be fruitful in every good work. Increase me in the knowledge of you. Strengthen me with all might according to our glorious power, for all patience and long suffering with joy. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so that is it. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. So I reached 4,200 on PYTE. So that's it. Thank you for watching. And part of this recording will be on Team Sussex as well.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness, and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life.